What is up, guys? It is Sam here, and today I wanted to come out with the 6th edition of our YouTube rankings based upon the search volume for the Democratic candidates that are running for president. So, with that being said, if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and for those of you that are returning, it's good to freaking see you. You'd better be pressing that thumbs up button. All right, let's just jump right into it. So, this is the YouTube search volume. YouTube is the #2 site on the planet, and Google owns YouTube. So Google tracks every time somebody goes to YouTube and searches for something. So anytime somebody goes to YouTube and searches for Tulsi Gabbard, you can see that we put in the search terms across the top here. And we get to see what people are actually searching for instead of basing our understanding of what the collective of America thinks on some poll where there might be 500 or 1,000 respondents or 2,000 respondents, and then the media actually reports on that as valid. When you've had a couple thousand potentially people respond, first of all, I'm not even going to get into all the different biases, and think of it as like your boss standing over your shoulder, how you act, versus your boss is on vacation, how you act. We're understanding how you act when your boss is on vacation. This is what people are actually doing versus the polling data is just straught with different types of biases. You can check out the channel for other videos on that. And we stack rank the candidates 1 through 11 in 3 different time periods: the 12-month, the 90-day, and the 30-day. Because I want to understand what's happening over time, but also I think that what happened 12 months ago is potentially important to a lesser degree than the 30-day, but I do think it's still important. So what I do is, after I stack rank the candidates 1 through 11 in each one of the time periods, I take an average. And the average is 25% from the 12-month, 25% from the 90-day, and 50% from the 30-day to come up with an overall score that I can rank them on. And I put all of that data into a spreadsheet, and this is what I got. So, we have the top 5 here. I'm going to just put this here and then we'll go into the numbers. The top 5 is Andrew Yang, Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, and Biden are tied for 3. So we'll talk about that in a second. Rounding out the top 5 is Pete Buttigieg. Okay, so let's take a look over here. Maybe I'll just set this over here so it's not all spreadsheet. And we're going to take a look at the macro here over the last 2 months or so, and we see Pete's been gaining 1 spot every time I do these rankings. You can see the date is up here where I've done these before. Pete went from 7th to 6th to 5th. He's gaining ground. Andrew has just been #1. Yang has just been #1 across the board. You can see this since we started. There's been no movement in his, as well as no movement with Bernie Sanders. Kamala Harris has been continually losing ground. We're not even going to mention her. Biden, he's been like bouncing back and forth between 2nd and 4th. I would expect that to either continue, him flatlining with a slow, gradual decline, based on just what I'm seeing and the sentiment I feel as I accidentally read comments sometimes when I'm doing this research on other people's channel or on Twitter or on Instagram or on other platforms. You get kind of a little bit of a sentiment that is around each one of these candidates, and there's positivity around every single one of them. It seems like there's a lot more negativity around Biden than there is around other candidates. And I think this actually comes down fundamentally to the strategy that the candidates are taking, in the sense that if I come out here and I'm like, hey, I'm running for president, and I'm running for president because fucking Donald Trump or this, that, and the other thing, there's that strategy, which legacy people have done for decades, right? Or the strategies some of the other players take, where they try to bring people together instead of just talking shit about other people. I don't know. It's a personal preference. I prefer the latter. I prefer trying to bring people together instead of talking shit about somebody else. I think everybody, including Trump, is just trying to do what they believe is the right thing to do. Whether we agree with the way that they handle that or how they do it is each in their own. And I think that I don't follow these candidates, but based on the little bits of headlines that I pick up here or there as I'm doing research and marketing and stuff, I see that there's a lot more, it appears, a lot more conversation between Biden and Trump, where Biden's complaining about Trump and this, that, and the other thing, which I'm sure a lot of them are, but it seems more of a focus. That's divisive. That's going to bring people apart. You want to bring people together on a macro level if you're going to be a leader, in my opinion. And that's why I see him continuing either flatlining or losing ground in the time that goes on here. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this next plays out before Iowa. The Iowa caucuses video is coming out later this week, so make sure you subscribe. But it is kind of interesting. Another thing that I saw here, and I believe that Elizabeth Warren is doing the same exact thing here, is that Elizabeth Warren has, since we did that last one, she was popping up a lot in the news that she's been doing very well. And we actually see that she was, let me just pull up this real quick. So this is the last time I did it. We see that she was 7th and then 5th and then 4th in the 12-month, the 90-day and the 30-day, where she's lost ground in the 30-day. In the most recent, the most relevant time period, she's lost ground. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but it could be related to the strategy where she's just complaining about Trump. I don't know, thinking about a little bit more of a thoughtful strategy. In my opinion, no offense to anybody who fucking likes these people that I'm talking about, like Biden or Elizabeth Warren. As I mentioned, I don't follow these candidates. I just think I'm looking at it at a different POV than maybe somebody in their camp. Doesn't mean you can't comment around it. I just think that shifting the focus from complaining about somebody else and trying to create drama like the media does, using that as an opportunity to think about how we can move forward in the sense of have a better fucking conversation, I think is an intelligent way to approach running. But I'm clearly not running, so nor have I ever even tried. So, but that's just my thought here. Another one, and the fastest mover out of all these candidates, is Tulsi Gabbard. She went from 6th to 4th to 2nd. So she's moved up 2 spots in each one of these. In the macro view, she's been 4th and then 3rd and then 3rd. So it'll be interesting to see if she's able to maintain that. I honestly believe that she will, and I don't know if I want to put it out there as a prediction. We can call it Conjecture Tuesday. I don't know, but I think, based upon what's happened with Joe Rogan, that she could move up to 2nd place the next time we do these rankings in the next couple weeks. And I'd like to hear what your thoughts are down below. We're going to do the website ranking tomorrow, and we rank the candidates' websites out of all the candidates' sites in the U.S., as well as on a couple of engagement factors. And I would bet that she is gaining ground there because she was losing ground last time. What am I talking about when I mention Joe Rogan? I will get into that in a second. But first, I just want to touch on the tightness of this race. What we have here is the average. This is the 25% for the 12-month, 25% from the 90-day, and 50% from the 30-day. And we see that Sanders is at 2.5, Biden's at 3.5, and Gabbard's at 3.5 in terms of the overall average that they're at. So the closer the score is in absolute amounts, right? 2.5 versus 3.5 is closer than 2.5 versus 8.5. And what we're seeing here is between now and the next time we do these in a couple weeks, probably I'm going to try to be doing these twice a month so that we can really try to capture a lot more data now that I quit my job. But I think we can see Biden slipping potentially. At the same time, Gabbard just moves up and takes over 3rd absolutely relative to Joe. But I do think there's the small potential. We'll see how the next couple weeks play out, but I think there's a small potential where she could, based upon if she's able to get her message out, when you have these spikes of attention, which I'm going to talk about with Joe Rogan in a second, that's where you need to go all in and really, really get your message out to everybody. Because a lot of people think that attention, negative is a bad thing, or positive is the only thing you want. Attention is attention. If you have people searching for you more than they're searching for somebody else, positive or negative, there's a residual from that. So what happens, right? You've got this steady state baseline. You get a spike of attention for whatever reason, negative, positive. And what happens after that subsides over some period of time, generally speaking, there's a new baseline that's higher. You have to be good, right? You have to be good enough to articulate your message to the American public in a believable and authentic way where they're going to actually appreciate what you're going through with whatever controversy came up. Now, with Joe Biden, his articulation of explaining what happened and getting his message out, I don't think was necessarily handled in the most eloquent way. Plus, it just seems like there's a lot of other things going on that I don't think that's who probably a lot of America wants as a leader of the country, in my opinion. So let's talk about Joe Rogan really quick. Joe Rogan, Tulsi Gabbard was just on the show, and I just have learned about this through Twitter in terms of, as I'm marketing the videos, I see that people are posting about Joe Rogan. I have not listened to the podcast. But what's interesting here is that Joe Rogan is in the top 400 in terms of his YouTube channel in the United States, and top 1,000 in terms of subscribers. If you come down here, this is the views. He's getting 50, 70, 65. He's getting a boatload of views. He's got so much attention, and you can see it's just going up and to the right. So she was on his show, and I pulled up the video here. 2.5 million views from 4 days ago. Today's 12/1. From 4 days ago. And then what's also super interesting, and I'm seeing it on Twitter. This is why I think that she's building momentum off of this, is because I go over to Twitter and I look at the hashtags to see what's going on and see about getting in conversations and just building more attention and awareness. 30,000 people have commented on this video in 4 days. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. The top coming here is 184 replies on it. This is tremendous. If you look at the Google Trends that we have here, so she was on the show 4 days ago, and if you look at the past 7 days on YouTube, I would bet that she has a spike from the attention that she was able to garner from Joe Rogan, from being on Joe Rogan's podcast. So that was on the 26th, right? So there's a spike right here, and yep. So the show came out, right? Show came out here. I don't know what time. It came out on the 26th at some point, and you see a giant spike of attention. Interesting, right? And if you look over here, if you look at the 25 mark, there's a bunch of areas that are either at the 25 or below. And then you look after here, right? There's a spike of attention. And now it looks like there's more above the line, right? Because more people are aware of her. People who don't follow politics but listen to Joe Rogan now are aware of her as a candidate. I'd love to know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. And if you use the hashtag Stolt, I can get into my YouTube analytics and look for that, and we can talk about the comment. So this is actually from Kyle, where he did not use the hashtag Stolt, but I do appreciate the comment from Kyle, where he actually brings into some interesting stuff about adding in additional factors to try to come up with a weighting for our power rankings, to get a better understanding of the macro view. And I've been thinking about that a lot recently, because we take a simple average of these things. However, I do think what he is saying in terms of coming up with a specific weighting for each category is probably valuable. If you think that Google search volume ranking is more valuable than the Twitter ranking, right? That just makes sense. You wouldn't want to take a simple average or an equally weighted average. You might want to weight Google higher. So I think that's an awesome idea. Now, in terms of understanding if that's accurate or not, will be a different idea. I will just base it on my intuition of trying to really understand what America thinks. I'm not selling anything. I don't have any services to offer. I don't have a product. I'm literally just trying to understand what America thinks, to know how the collective understands the candidates versus what the polling data says, right? And we can look at real clear politics when we do in other videos. So Kyle, thank you so much. I appreciate the comment. Let's jump down in here. This is from Omad Keto. What's good? In reference to SARM's Pure Raws. Probably you guys are probably not interested in that. But anyway, thank you for the comment. He's in referencing Pure Raws is difficult to order from. Narrow Labs doesn't sell Ostarine. Where's a good place to order Ostarine? A good place to order Ostarine, you can check the links in the description for companies that I use for research purposes. Rad, thank you for that comment, Rad, a Yang Gang. We on it. Thank you so much. Daryl, don't believe these DNC establishment polls. They are to discourage people to support Tulsi. She is doing much better than we are told. I do agree that she's probably doing a lot better than what we think. Let's jump over just really quick and then we'll wrap this video up. But let's go check out Real Clear Politics and see what their ranking, let's see, Real Clear Politics. Let's jump over to Real Clear Politics and look at the national ranking here to see what, how she is doing. So Tulsi is ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She's ranked 11th. She's ranked lower than Tom Steyer. Like, I think if you're watching this video, you probably can see that there's a different amount of attention around Tulsi Gabbard versus Tom Steyer, or Tulsi Gabbard versus Cory Booker, or this is a good one, Amy Klobuchar. Amy Klobuchar versus Tulsi Gabbard. Nobody's fucking talking about Amy. She doesn't even have a YouTube channel. She needs to get her message out. Amy actually wants to win. She needs to try to talk to more people. Where do you do that? If you're going to sell fucking hot dogs to somebody, do you go in front of Walmart, wherever all the traffic is, or do you go in the back by the trash can? Right? Where are you going to see more people? On the second biggest fucking website on the planet, YouTube. So if you don't even have a YouTube channel, and Real Clear Politics, based upon the data they have here, is saying that, like, Klobuchar is higher than Gabbard. Come on, guys. Like, if you agree with what's going on here in terms of trying to understand what the collective of America is thinking about, share this video with somebody else that you think can get value out of it. It does help the channel out tremendously grow. If you smash that thumbs up button, that also tremendously helps out the channel because it tells YouTube to put this video in front of more people so we can get the message out that, like, maybe, just maybe, there's a better way of handling things in 2019. Or we should at least have that conversation, right? Because they are not going to change anything. The establishment is not going to change anything. You and I are the people who have to change anything. The people who see these issues have to do something about it. Because otherwise it's not going to happen. Period. Clearly, look what we're doing. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, press that bell notification, and jump over to Instagram or TikTok. TikTok is fucking blowing up. TikTok, over the past 28 days or so, I have like 35,000 views over on TikTok. Almost about a third of what I'm getting on YouTube, and I just started using TikTok. Pretty tremendous, the amount of attention that's over there versus like some of these other platforms. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. Peace.